Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Andrew. I don't know how long it's been since I uploaded a video, but life happens. So today I'm gonna do an unhaul. I've had these books, I've been meaning to unhaul them for weeks, so hopefully this video is gonna give me the motivation to actually get them out of my house, because there's quite a few of them. Some of them are just duplicate copies, some of them are, well, we'll get into it. Okay, so I am getting rid of City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty, which was my first book club pick of the year. I picked this book. This was a 3-star read for me, so I'm not going to continue the series, so I don't really plan to, I don't ever want to reread it, so I'm just going to give it to someone else who will appreciate it more. The next books that I'm unhauling are An Ember in the Ashes and A Torch Against the Night. I really liked the first book a lot, actually, and then the second book, I don't really know how to describe it. I just didn't love the second book, and I felt like the ending was unearned. I don't want to spoil anything. I do not want to spoil anything, because I do think that for some people it could pay off really well, but not for me. Not going to continue the series, but I do want to read All My Rage by her, because I love her writing. Her writing is really good. The characters were probably the weakest thing for me. Somebody may be able to convince me to continue the series, but for now, I'm gonna just unhaul it. And I think I've learned about myself that I prefer more whimsical, happy, less gritty, I just prefer more light-hearted stories, and these are not that, and I will be leaning into my preferences and rarely picking up gritty. I feel like the word gritty is something I just want to avoid stuff that is gritty. It just isn't my personal taste. So I ranted about that for way too long. Moving on. Now the next book is Cinder by Marissa Meyer, which is whimsical, and I really enjoyed the first book. I did not like Scarlet nearly as much as this, and I also read Cress. I think it's Cinder, Scarlet, Cress, Winter. Anyway, so I read the third one, and I really liked the third one too, but I just didn't like it enough to then get the fourth one and then read them all and own them and have them on my shelf. I just wasn't that attached. I definitely think that Marissa Meyer does plot well. I think that the romance was cute, and I did enjoy it. I just don't want to read the whole series and own it and keep it. And I think many people, I think this is a little bit younger YA, for a younger, maybe 13, 14-year-olds. YA is such a wide range, but this is just not, I guess I want something between this and Ember in the I don't know what I want exactly, but I don't want this, so it's getting unhauled. All right, next I'm getting rid of Ace of Shades, which was in my most disappointing reads of last year. I just didn't really connect with this one. I didn't really like anything about it, unfortunately. I didn't really like the writing. I didn't really like the characters. I didn't like many things about it at all. I really wanted to like it, but I just didn't. Next we have The Raven Boys, which I did not hate. Actually gave the first one 4 stars and the second one 4 stars, and I liked the first one a little bit more, and I do think I want to continue the series. I have another version of this book. I have it. It's just on I have a couple of books I want to reread in a different format. I listened to this, so I kind of want to read it physically, because I know a lot of people say you cannot read this. It doesn't read as well when you listen to it, so I'm gonna give it that chance. But this copy is not, it's kind of in a bad condition, so I'm gonna just get rid of it. Next I've got The Prince and the Dressmaker, which was super cute, really enjoyed it. I just don't think I will ever see myself rereading this, so I don't need to own it. Next I've got Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty, which I actually think I got 80 or 90% of it, and this is an example of the adaptation is literally copy and paste the book, which is fine. It just doesn't really make reading the book anything exciting or new or interesting, because it is literally the exact same story, word for word, line by line, and I love the TV show, but again, this is like a thriller. I don't see myself needing to own this. I didn't technically finish it, even though I've seen the whole show. And I just don't need to own it. So that's why it's in an Unhaul video. What a concept. Then we've got Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow. This is a hardcover edition, which is beautiful, and I loved this book, but I also have a paperback version, and I also have a UK hardcover version of it, which you can see right here next to Strange Dreamer. I mean, just look at this. So when you own this, there's really no reason to own this. I mean, I do love this cover too, but also like this is the same height and everything as these other. I got the other two, you know, on Book Depository, and just, I mean, literally, like, why would I need any other edition? It's just, this is out of print, so good luck finding it if you can. And Strange the Dreamer is also out of print, so that was a expensive purchase for me, but I love that book. I didn't pay, I know there's like some books, sometimes it's like over $100 or $200, or I've seen it even more than that. I was able to find it for like $30, so to me that was worth it. So I obviously love that book a lot, but we're here to talk about the books I'm getting rid of. So I'm also getting rid of 4 Weeks, 5 People, which I own a hard copy version of this. So, and I haven't read it yet, but I already own the hardcover. I don't need to own the paperback. It's gonna leave my house. Then we've got Revenge of the Green Banana, which I doubt anyone has ever heard of. I was sent this on accident by Thrift Books with an order. I don't want it. I'm not gonna read it. The synopsis doesn't sound interesting at all. Bye. Then we've got Anyway the Wind Blows, which is the 3rd book in the Carry On series. And I didn't like the first book. I gave the first book 2 stars. I didn't find it stood very well on its own. I've heard some people say that the 2nd and 3rd books are better, and this is a beautiful edition of the book, and it has like these lovely end pages, but I don't think I'm gonna read anything else by the author. I liked Fangirl. Fangirl was decent, but I just don't think Rainbow Rowell is an author I really want to be reading personally, other than Fangirl, just because Fangirl was a pretty iconic one, but I don't really want to read anything else by her. And I wanted to read Carry On just because it was part of Fangirl in a way, so I wanted to read it, and I actually liked Fangirl way more than Carry On. And I know there's several comp titles to Fangirl that I will probably check out, but this, I don't know, if someone could convince me that maybe the series is worth it, but I gave the first book 2 stars, so I don't think. And I didn't like Fangirl because of her writing. Like, if it was like her writing I enjoyed, maybe, but I only liked it because of the character and the relatability to the character. So this one is leaving the house also. They're all leaving the house. It's an Unhaul video. We all know this. Also getting rid of Furthermore by Tahira Mafi, because it's supposed to be Alice in Wonderland retelling, which was never my favorite Disney thing. It was never anything that like stood out to me, and this is like a middle grade, and I mean the concept sounds good. I could be convinced to keep this because I know, because the sequel to this has like death magic, I kind of want to give this a go. It's like, this is, out of all of these, the most likely to stay, because the other things I've either already read or have other copies of, but this one, someone could convince me, possibly. I'm also going to get rid of Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson, not because I disliked it. In fact, I loved this book. I have all 4 in the series right behind me on my, like, this is like a favorites shelf, and I love all these books on the shelf, but I don't need a paperback if I already have a hardcover. So I'm also getting rid of To Kill a Kingdom, which I actually gave 5 stars because I really genuinely think that objectively, this is a pretty great book. If you like Enemies to Lovers, I don't know as of this moment that I have seen it better written. So I do recommend this book. I just don't ever see myself rereading it. So you should check it out if it sounds interesting. It's about like kind of a siren and the prince, and then, you know, they're supposed to kill each other, but you know. I'm also going to get rid of the entire Heroes of Olympus series that I purchased for some reason. Not because I have anything against the actual books themselves, but because these editions are that really stiff UK paperback that I've discovered that I hate. I hate it. A stiff spine, I hate it. These, like, even the second one, you can see already that it was starting to crack. No, and it's not that I have an issue with how it looks on the shelf, it's that I have an issue with how it feels to read it, that you have to crack this. I hate it. No, I do want to read this series and all following series from Rick Riordan because I do think I would enjoy all of his work, but I cannot do it in this format. And I think I talked about this in another video, but I don't really like the narrator for these books. So physically reading these for me is just different, and I don't. So I want to do it. It's just definitely not going to happen soon. It's definitely not. But those are also leaving because I really hate those spines a lot. Clearly. I'm also getting rid of A Study in Scarlet, this paperback version of it. I have the entire Sherlock Holmes series right here, and I have it in these absolutely lovely editions. So I don't need this if I already have this. This is literally the same book. You know, it's the first 2 books of the series, I think, in here. I'm in the middle of this still. Been in the middle of this for almost a year. Shit. So this is going. Also, I will be unhauling this giant picture of Dorian Gray because I thought it was this edition right here, but clearly it is not. So somebody who has trouble seeing could benefit from this, which would be great for them. I don't know if I will ever read this super nice edition, but I want that on my shelf because I love the picture of Dorian Gray. I physically read this version and annotated this copy, so I will be keeping this copy because it is like the first version of it I read. Don't like this cover, but there's so many good covers of this book because it's like a horror novel. Like, oh, by the end, it's a horror novel, and oh, I love this book. I gave it 4 stars, but I feel like if I reread it, it'd be a 5-star because there's just like one specific part of the book that I remember docking a star, but I think it was intentional by the author, so could be a 5-star. I want to reread this and like make a standalone review for it because I think it's just deserves that level of respect. So that should happen soon. But so I'm getting rid of the other version of it, obviously. Now, lastly, I previously said in this video, I do not like gritty, dark, just let's think about grim, dark. I've discovered that's just not for me. I read a couple things, gave them 2 stars, and I just started to think to myself, I've watched a couple shows, and I just thought to myself, this is not the media I want to consume. It just generally isn't. So it's not really fair to the grim dark genre or the just gritty. I just don't want to consume media like that. There's I do like adult themes every now and then and all that. So it's hard to explain exactly, but I can tell you with pretty sure Game of Thrones is not for me. It's not for me. I have read adult fantasy. I have enjoyed adult fantasy. This, I just don't think it's for me. It's not what I want to read. I don't want to read. I don't really like his writing style. I think obviously there is a huge audience for him and his writing style, but I think I have seen a very decent amount of people who cannot get into his writing style also. So hopefully if you found this video, you're with me on that and I didn't just break your heart. But I just cannot get into his writing style. I think it is too pulled out. It's kind of a way. I was listening to another story and I was like, this story, it just feels so from a distance. I prefer stories to be first person. I do love third person omniscient, but I feel like third person omniscient, it's just the way I can't describe. I don't know how to put it into words. I'm not that eloquent, but this and me, we don't get along. I'm sorry. So those are all the books that need to leave my house. Will they leave my house in the next week? I sure hope so. I hope by the time this video is live and everything, they are no longer here. But if they're not and they're still here and you want to fight for any of your favorites to stay in my house, feel free to go ham in the comments. So that is all for today. I will leave my Instagram, Goodreads, and Twitter all in the description, and hope you have a great day. Bye.